Well, good morning, Facebook family. I don't know who's up this early, but this ain't early because I'm usually up and about, headed to the flea market. I'm actually heading to boot camp, so I will probably be back on in a few moments. Not sure what's going on with my voice this morning. So I wanted to share something this morning because I actually had to do this. I've done this in one of my workshops. Actually, earlier this year, I did it in a workshop. The baggage? Who's your baggage? And so wanted to kind of share this analogy that I had to share with someone, one of my coaching clients. So I wanted to share this. So here's the thing. A lot of times, we are just wanting to be loving and giving creatures. When someone needs us to do something, we do it. Even if we don't want to do it, doesn't matter if it's family, friends, coworkers, or whatever. We don't want to do it. Or we want to do it, but we're just like, we just know that we just don't have enough to give, but yet we're still trying to give and please people. And I'm going to tell you, people pleasing will absolutely stress you out. It will leave you feeling depleted. It will leave you feeling frustrated. And if you are not being your authentic self, then you are not operating in self-care. So, we are all familiar with that scripture, where it talks about, and I ain't no Bible scholar, so I don't even know the scripture. Yes, I'm going to boot camp. And so I don't even know what the scripture is, but it says, it's talking about, my cup runneth over. And so when you think about a cup that is running over, when something is overspilling, that means that you can put another glass or something under it to catch the overflow. That's a great thing when you are operating in overflow. So that means overflowing your energy, overflowing your finances, overflowing in any type of task that you have to do, giving from the overflow. So here I'm going to show you an analogy. So here's a full jar. This jar is full. So if someone were to ask me for a drink from my cup, I have something to give them. I have something to share. If someone's thirsty, I have something to give. Here is a jar that is half full. So if someone were to ask me for a drink, I have something to give, but there's only half of me. There's only half of, what I need to function, because I need a full jar to function. So here I'm already at half and someone's wanting something, but yet we give. And then here, Jesus is coming sooner than we thought, stop it. And then here's an empty jar. So many of us operate with these two jars. We're either half full or we're empty. So if you're half full and someone keeps coming and asking, hey, can you work extra hours for me? You know that you're tired, but yet you do. Hey, can you come and help me to organize my closet? You give. Hey, I'm moving next weekend. Can you come help me move? We give. And you keep giving, and then you end up with this empty jar. So even when you do get a little bit more in you, you have a little bit more to give when you get empty. So what you do is you replenish yourself. Well, then you have a little bit in here. Well, here comes someone again wanting something from you. So guess what? You pour that out and you're back at an empty jar. So the question that I want to ask today is, are you operating on a full glass with overflow? Are you operating with a jar that's half full? Or are you operating on empty? And if you're operating on empty, you know what empty feels like for you. You just feel like, I just can't do one more thing. I plan to rest this weekend, just rest and get some rest. But then someone calls and you want to get up, but yet you have an empty jar. Someone needs a favor. You don't have it to give. You aren't able to give, but you're trying to give from an empty jar. So what happens is when you're trying to give from an empty jar, you keep trying to get, you can't. You cannot give something that you do not have. If there's nothing in your glass to give, then why are you allowing people to continue to pull and tug and ask of something of you that you have nothing to give? The goal for you is to operate from a full glass that's in overflow, which means If you're operating in overflow, that means, oh my God, I have this to give. I have this time to donate for an organization. I have this time, to be a part of, something in my religious or social organization. I have this time to donate, to be a volunteer in certain areas. When you're operating in overflow, you can do that. When you're operating from here, only you know that you're operating from here. The person asking you to do something doesn't know that. Because if you keep trying to pour from something that you don't have, you're going to deplete yourself. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to experience anxiety. You're going to experience anger. You're going to lash out at people. You're going to just kind of attack everyone when it's not their fault. It's your fault for trying to give from something that you do not have. So the goal is, if you need to rest, then rest. If you need to say no to something, and that means to anyone, family, friends, coworkers, whoever is asking, religious and social organizations, and religious organizations are culprits of pulling on you from the empty jar and wanting to convince you that you are serving God. God does not want you serving from an empty jar. God has always asked us to operate in the overflow. That means that we have enough to give to his people. He doesn't want us being angry and fussing and cussing and being mad. This ain't his fault. He wants you to operate here. He wants you to operate here. So I'm going to show them to you again. This is your goal, to operate from a full glass, from a full jar, so that you have to give to others. And that means whatever. That means whatever. You can't, I'll give my last. Let's use that in context. Because if this little corner is your last, and then you have nothing left to get yourself together, do you think that that's what God wanted? No, don't get his words twisted. His words were not written to be twisted. He was very, very clear. It's man who came along and changed and tainted the way that things are being said to benefit their agenda. Someone always has an agenda. So, hey, you want to operate from a full jar. If you're not operating from here, then you're operating from here. And you need to figure out how to get yourself back to this. Stop giving. Stop trying to be the strong one. Stop trying to be the hero. Stop trying to be the wonderful one while you are tearing yourself up. Because what most people don't understand is when they say stress is a silent killer, internally you are slowly killing yourself, because mentally you know that you can't do it, and you're doing this mind over matter, and you are stretching yourself too thin. So don't give of something that you don't have. And the most important thing or person in your life is you. And if you are not taking care of you, then you are no good to everybody else. And so for those of you who, you have children or teenagers who are involved in a lot of things, and yes, we want to be supportive of our children, but before you start signing them up for all of these things, you all need to sit down and figure out, are we going to be able to keep this commitment? Are we going to be able to keep this going? How long does this go? What does your work schedule look like? What does your business schedule look like? Are you, what does your social and religious organization schedule look like? You trying to do all of that starting from here, and then by the time you stretch yourself thin, you right here, and now you're in the midst of obligations, and now you don't want to let your children down. Now you don't want to let your spouse or loved one down. Now you don't want to let your boss down. Now you don't want to let your social or religious organization down. But yet, the most important person you're letting down, because this is empty. So thank you. I just thought that I would just share that this morning, because I'm working with a client right now who is dealing with that. And I'm hoping that this helps them to see what they're doing. Because the key is to be your true, authentic self. When you're lying to yourself, you're lying. Kids are so busy that there's no time for deep parent-child relationship. Everyone's too busy with other things. You're exactly right. And I heard someone say long time ago, and I think it may have been Will Smith. It was a comedian, and they were saying it in their routine. But, parents, some parents are using these other things that they sign their kids up for as a way not to have to be engaging. Because when I was young, engaging on Saturday mornings and in the evenings, we sat down for dinner. We went to places as a family, which mean that my parents had to come up with how to keep us engaged as a family. Sitting out there on the bench is not family time. But, we've defined it as family time, and to each person their own. I'm not judging, but, it's just we've kind of gotten away from that close parent relationship. But, as a parent, how much are you giving to your children if you are operating from here? And then if you're operating on empty, what are you teaching them? And that's why our children today have such a tough time managing, because they don't have good examples, of operating in the overflow. They're operating on empty. And so that's how they respond. So hopefully you got something from this. Feel free to comment if you're on replay. Check the replay. If you want to join my accountability Facebook page, it's straight up personal accountability coaching. You can join me over there. I'm working on some things to do in May with that group, so feel free to join and discuss it and share this video. Somebody somewhere needs to hear this. And it's so funny, this just came to me. You operating in empty, and then you want to be mad at folks. Be mad at yourself, because you operating on empty. They took, but you gave it. So you can't be mad about something that you gave away. And if people are going to take you for granted, they take advantage of you, if you're going to let them, they're going to do it. So, it's on you. You just got to kind of see how can I take care of myself? It's not selfish to take care of yourself. So thank you for watching. Thank you for those of you who are watching the rebroadcast. Really appreciate it. And you all take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.